Welcome to the #1 podcast in automotive, Service Drive Revolution. This week, the 100th episode. Chris and Jeremy travel back in time to SDR's most popular episodes. Stay tuned for special guests and much more. And it all starts right now.
Welcome everybody to Service Drive Revolution in our 100th episode.
Nice.
We're gonna pull out the good stuff. Not that we don't always drink the good stuff.
We always have the good stuff, man.
But we have a great show for you today. Everybody say hello to the handsome and wonderful Jeremy O'Neill.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, sir.
Cheers to 100.
Cheers to 100. Yes.
We were going back and looking. We're gonna go back and talk about the most downloaded episodes that we have. I do believe we're the #1 show in automotive. Nobody has the following or the downloads that we have. And it was funny, but God pointed out something that the first 2 episodes I introduced at Fixed Ops
Do you talk to him often?
Revolution. God?
Yeah.
Constantly.
Always.
How about you? How's your relationship with God?
Wonderful.
How's your walk?
My walk is straight and narrow.
Cheers. Can we cheers in social distancing?
Oh, that's good. I don't know. Are we 6 feet apart? Oh, that's really good.
Only the best for you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
So we're going to talk about that. We have a surprise little shout out from somebody.
We do.
We're going to do your questions.
I hear we have some really good questions today, too. I'm excited about those.
And then we're going to go through the 6 types of service advisors that will destroy your service department.
The 6 types that will destroy your business.
Yeah.
Just like melt it down.
Implode. Do you ever read our comments on the interwebs, on like social media?
It's sad to say I don't.
So, some good ones here.
I want to hear some of them, though.
Jay Villa commented, "Great job on the podcast, gentlemen. I feel that adding a book read to succeed list would be a great addition to the podcast. There is no one-size-fits-all book. However, it's great to get." What do you think about that as a segment?
I think that's great. I would answer it with
Now,
A.
Jeremy would have to start reading books.
How'd you know that was going to be my answer? A-N-Y. Any
Books
book
that-
that you read is good.
Would it be like some conspiracy book?
Oh, come on. Let's not go there yet. We're not even 4 minutes into the episode.
Some idiot named Motorhead69 said, "Cut your beards, not professional."
Wait, what decade is he living in?
Yeah.
Like,
He's got a meme, no followers and
in
no
the
videos.
80s, it was like you didn't have facial hair.
I deleted that one, actually.
Okay, good.
Stacy Hotch, our loyalty to our... What? No. Darren Marshall, as a tech who has bounced around from dealership to dealership, it's great to hear some talk about culture and partnerships. Many parts of the video resonated with me. Hopefully it can resonate with others too. Thank you for making and sharing these videos. So, kind of fun.
Awesome.
Thanks for your comments. Thanks for your questions. Also, just to mention, if you post a question and we actually read it on the big show, we'll send you some swag.
Absolutely. Got to get that.
T-shirts, hats, things like that.
Excellent.
Okay, so the top 5 episodes of all time
I'm just sad I wasn't here in the beginning, man.
on Service Drive Revolution. Yeah, you're kind of part of the reboot because we went like a year without putting one up.
That's a long
Kind
time.
of we
I need a drink.
we let it go
drink
to
hear
sleep.
that.
So should I start from the back of the list? So the 5th most downloaded in the last couple years. Now I should mention that I think all time the one with Jocko Willick is the most downloaded,
Okay.
and Dave Anderson I think is number 2. But this is just in the last couple years. The 5th most downloaded is Jack Gardner's Service Concierge, where we talk about could service advisors be replaced by software. What do you think? Can service advisors be replaced by software?
I think there's going to be a certain percentage of the payroll load that is taken off on that, but I don't think you're ever going to replace
Can an Apple iPad replace the service advisor?
a mediocre one. Yes.
Half of them?
Half of them.
The number 4 episode is Brian Benstock. Brian Benstock. So we talked, Brian's kind of famous because with his Honda dealership in New York, I think he's in Queens, New York, he picks up most of his cars. So he has an app, and he goes and picks up the customers' cars and then re-delivers them, and he kind of pioneered that, kind of at the front of customer service there. So that's number 4. Number 3 is just 10 reasons why service advisors fail.
I like that one.
You like that one? Kind of a negative title.
Well, but there was a lot of positive that came out of that.
I wonder if what we're going to talk about today will be one of the most downloaded. 6 types of service advisors that will kill your service department or something like that. Destroy. People like negative headlines, huh?
They do. Headlines. Well, the headline and the hook are 80% of the success. So you've got to get the headline right.
Then the number 2 most downloaded episode is Glenn Lundy, Stop Following the Golden Rule.
Chris, I'm so proud of you, man. 100 episodes. Congratulations. I got to tell you, this conversation that you and I had right here made a massive impact in my life. And that's what you do. So here's to the first 100 and 100 more. Keep crushing, my man. Congrats.
Thanks for that, Glenn. So on that episode, we talked about millennials get a bad rap, how to treat others, don't press the snooze button. There's a lot of good takeaways. If you haven't heard that episode, I would highly recommend that you go listen to it. And then the number 1 most downloaded episode is Lisa Copeland, Follow the Money.
Hey everybody, it's Lisa Copeland. And I just wanted to take a second and congratulate my good friend, Chris Collins, on episode number 100 of his podcast. And as somebody who does a lot of shows, that's a super big deal. But what it was even a bigger deal to me is that I was told that the podcast that he and I did together was the number 1 downloaded podcast. So Chris, I want to come back. I've got a lot more to say. But anyways, congratulations. I wish you continued success, my friend.
Oh, thanks for that, Lisa. Yeah, we should have you back on. That would be really fun. We had a great conversation. And some of the things that we talked about on that specific episode, that you got to make the car buying experience pleasant and exciting. You got to follow the money. And women are a minority in the workforce and underestimated as customers, which is all very true. Would love to see what you're up to and what's going on. But that is the top 5 most downloaded issues. Not issues.
Episodes. It's kind of interesting right now where we're at with the coming out of COVID, the shutdown, where this is kind of a reboot as well. 100 episodes.
Yeah, we haven't been on the set in 2 months.
Yeah, it's so nice to be back here on set. Get to see you arm's length away, right? And all the guys behind the cameras here doing all the hard work. So it's nice to be on set. I think we give a better product here than we do on Zoom. So I'm happy to be here. And I think we had a lot of great stuff coming up in the future.
Yeah, for sure. It was nice for all of us to be in the room again.
Well, it is, and I think a lot of businesses are going to have to change. I'm getting. How many texts have you gotten from like furniture stores or from any salesperson in the past that says, "Hey, we're now open by appointment only," something like that, trying to sell you something?
0.
You haven't gotten any? Well, here's Chris's.
From a furniture store?
This is a cell. If you're trying to sell Chris something, here's a cell phone. It's 323-555-1212.
Yeah.
That'll get you the direct link to Chris's cell phone.
You get texts like that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you bought something in the past,
man,
they have your cell phone.
If somebody spams my text, I stop, block.
Well, but they make it sound like they're your friend. Like, it's all, hey, yo, what's up? This is so-and-so. And you're like, who? And it's like, oh,
I've had my phone number forever. I've thought about changing it lately.
You should get a 909 phone number.
909?
Yeah, Valley of the Dirt.
So most people listening to this have no idea what you're talking about, but 909 is out where Jeremy lives, which if you're in LA proper, 909 is kind of considered like not the cool kids.
The wrong side of the tracks.
Yeah, the wrong side of the tracks.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think I'll be having a 909 in anytime soon.
Probably not.
Should we go to questions?
I believe so.
The voice of God.
Yeah.
Okay, God, do we have any good questions this week?
The voice of God has many questions. Question 1. My job as an advisor is to sell service. How do you deal with management that won't let you do that? I'm not allowed to convert a customer to a BCD service package. How do you deal with your hands being tied and not being able to sell what your customer wants to get done during their visit?
Sounds like you're pretty broken up about this.
God, sometimes some questions answer themselves. So
Well,
what we're saying is we don't want to keep our customers in safe and dependable vehicles. We don't care about our customers. We want to make our processes so difficult that we're like the anti-service department.
Possibly, but let's help him. Because he's got some struggle with management, he said.
Okay.
Okay. Now, so I wrote down the first part of his question is, my job as an advisor is to sell service. Is that the job of the advisor?
No.
No. What is the job of the advisor?
To collect customers
To collect customers. And how do we do that?
by connecting with them on a deeper level.
Yeah, and then the product that we do is to help them take care of their car, correct?
Correct.
So instead of going to management and say, my job is to sell service, your job is to do what?
Collect customers.
For the dealership,
Yeah.
right? Or the shop. And then what translates into that is I'm going to help my customers enroll in the right product that's fit for them, tailor fit
Wait,
for
wait,
them,
wait, wait.
right?
Are you? Is this where you're headed? Let me guess. But tell me
Maybe-
truthfully. I'm not.
possibly.
So you're saying go to management and say, I'm trying to collect customers here so our retention goes up so we sell more cars, but customers are never going to come back because they're breaking down after they leave here.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going with it.
And so it's a win-win.
It is. If you tell management my job is to sell service, they're taking that as a negative. They're going to keep shutting the door on you. But if you say, look, we're missing the boat here. Our job is to collect customers, retention, circle of trust, bring the customer back in. This is something we have
So
to
flip
do.
the script.
Flip the script, absolutely.
Because everybody wants to sell more cars.
Correct.
So you go to management and you're like, hey, dealer, general manager, I know how you could sell more cars.
Correct.
If I could make customers happy, retain them.
Yes.
Good, I like it. Good
there's-
answer.
Yeah, there's probably some fear there with management of being, I'm going to tie their hands so they don't upsell. Well, we're going to take the upsell out of it. and
I
help
think
the
it's
customer.
crazy that there's dealerships today that have processes in place that you have to turn the customer over to another advisor, or you can't sell anything but an air filter in the quick lane.
Well, those
It's
are probably-
super.
Probably the same dealership that has asbestos in the wall still. They can't afford to upgrade. So, I mean, come on.
Well, it's all about, yeah, the system. It's crazy. Okay, next question, God.
This next question was emailed in. I hear a lot of negativity in the service drive. Meaningless complaining, blame, and frustration coming out. This affects culture and performance. I would not trade the team I have for anything, but I find myself in a situation where I have to focus on lightening the mood. Do you have any advice I can use in this situation to get my team's positivity culture back on track?
Have you figured out how to change people?
It's one of the hardest things on the planet to do. Human behavior is hard.
Yeah, I always find that I try to find people that I don't have to change
Well, that's
that
better.
have the same kind of similar thoughts as I do, the same kind of ethical compass,
Correct.
the same level of happiness versus non-happiness, miserableness.
Yeah,
But I've had a really hard time ever changing anybody that's miserable.
how'd you change Christian?
Christian's not miserable. He's funny. I have
He
to
is.
reel him back.
I agree. I agree. But he says he's got the right team. He wouldn't trade his team for anything.
That's something that people say.
Well, I think he believes it, though.
Yeah, but it's not.
You know what this is a product of, right?
It's like an abusive relationship. It's like the. Have you ever known like somebody that will go back to the same abusive type relationship over and over and over again?
Correct.
Yeah, and I believe that they love the person, but the other person is a psychopath and they're not good for them.
Well, I mean,
I'm not comparing their advisors to psychopaths, but I'm saying, like, if you're a manager that goes into work every day and you're like, my job today, my goal today is to make my people happy, you will fail every time.
well, that's the push-pull syndrome, right? Like if you feel that you have to push your team or pull them, along, then you've got the wrong team. They should be motivating you. They should be, you should be fired up by the people that you work with, and you should have to run to keep up with your team, right? If you feel like you're pushing or pulling anybody, it's the wrong way to go. I do have a couple tips for them though.
Okay.
I think this is a product of GTJD. That's get the job done. So what happens when we go to work is we just focus on getting the job done, right? And then inevitably, if we don't work on our mindset, negativity will come out of that. So one word could help them change this. Gamify positivity. How would you gamify this?
How would I gamify positivity?
Yeah, I mean, you are the master of gamification.
How would you gamify positivity?
So think about this. If it's a GTJD world where you're just working, and the negativity comes in, and then I get these responses of, oh man, another customer that comes in for just a basic service, and I'm negative on that. How would you break that?
See, I guess I wouldn't approach it that way. So I don't know, you have to tell me what you're thinking. But for me, I would gamify performance.
Okay.
And I don't really care that much if an advisor comes in and has a big smile on their face, as long as they're connecting with customers and their customers love them and they're performing. Like some of the top advisors in the comp that we have, if you interviewed them on their own, they don't seem like they're that happy. They're more introverted. They're kind of quiet.
Okay.
But their customers love them. They have an attention to detail, and they're really good at their jobs, and they're competitive. So I feel like you can confuse the issue if you're chasing people's emotions. Like if you're walking around and your sense of whether we're winning or losing is whether people are happy or not, you're always going to be lost. If your sense of winning and losing is, are we making customers happy? Are we taking care of customers? And are we profitable and running a good, healthy department? That's the barometer of winning or losing to me. So okay. I wouldn't gamify feelings. Because you're always chasing people's feelings. And that's not a tangible thing. Results are tangible.
Well, they are. But his question is, how does he get rid of the negativity? Because he likes his team. But just negativity is kind of set in.
I still would gamify the performance, and then I would call in the ones that I think that are negative, one by one, and I would close the door to my office and I'd say...
Slap them around?
No, I would just say, like, listen, here's the thing that I'm trying to do here, and I know you're better than this, but sometimes your attitude rubs off on other people. In fact, it demotivates me, and we spend a lot of time here together. We're all after the same thing, and I believe in your heart you are meaning to do the right thing, but what you're projecting with your negativity has an effect, and I need it to change, and so I'm going to remind you every time you do it, but I need you to commit to me that you want to change that. Like, you're going to be a part of the solution. And I think if you give people the out, if you say, like, I know it's not your intention. Like, I always use the example with people. I'm like, it's not my intention to be intimidating, but I intimidate people. I know that. So I'm a big guy. I got a beard. I got these piercing eyes. I can read people's minds. I'm psychic. It's intimidating.
It can be.
Yeah, and so I'm trained in interrogation.
What else don't I know about you?
No, but so I understand that, and they usually like get it, and I'm like, so you come in and you're negative a lot of times, and the things that you say affect others. Now I try really hard to smile more, to be conscious of how intimidating I are. I pay attention to people's body language. I can tell if they're getting intimidated. I try to break that ice.
So what you're saying is he may need to work more individually with each member of his team who's more negative, and if it is more of a global scale culturally, then the team can work together towards... My thought was this: remove negativity, find one thing that you have a pattern or a trigger with each week and replace it. So when a customer walks in without an appointment, instead of going, oh, let's go, yay, right? There's a difference there physiologically, and the outcome can be positive versus negative. So you
changes the outcome dramatically when you respond a different way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So they can
start to train your mind to see the positive in things.
Yeah, so then you're getting the team to work together, so you can create a little bit of a game on this if you wanted to have each member of the team identify a negative behavior they're going to change each week and then replace it with something positive. Do that for 4 to 6 weeks and watch where they're at. And then if they still don't respond, then bring them in and talk to them individually.
Yeah. And so just to kind of close this up, I find that the most important aspect of this is that ultimately you play poker really well. And by play poker really well, I mean that you're willing to make a change if it doesn't change.
Yes.
If they're in control, then you'll always be a victim to them setting the pace and tone. If you're in control and you're setting the pace and the tone, you will eventually attract people that are like you. But if your mindset is, oh, everybody's great, but the culture's bad, the people have to change the culture a lot of times.
Yeah.
And people get that wrong because they don't want to think that way or they don't want to hear it. But here on Service Drive Revolution, we tell you the truth. And that's the truth.
That was a good answer.
Do you have any other questions, God?
Yes, God has another question. I seem to be having trouble with repeat customers not wanting to do work and only coming in for warranty or oil changes. This seems to be almost 50% of my clients in a day out of 19 to 20 ROs. Any advice to help change, as this is lowering my monthly average?
Where do we get all these self-serving service advisors from? Like, I mean, gee, that's just like me. I drew a sad crying face when I was listening to that question. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I mean, come on. We're here to serve and help. It's like...
I know that when I was an advisor, I made a lot of money off of warranty.
Absolutely.
I think that you're going into it with the wrong mindset. Like,
can I share a quick story with you about warranty? So my sister-in-law has a Kia, and they put an engine in it like a couple months ago. So last week, I was elbows deep fixing a car. She happens to call, so I throw her on speakerphone. And she's asking me questions about should she approve this customer pay work now 2 months later. And so she starts talking about the coolant hoses. And I'm like, wait a second, didn't they just do your engine? And she's like, well, yeah, but they did it under warranty. So now she feels indebted to them to pay them some of the money back for this warranty engine, right? And I'm like, well, if you had a good service advisor, they would have done all of this with a package when they did the engine at the first place. So it's warranty, customer pay, internal, it's all customers. So it's just funny how when you're focused on the sale, you don't serve the customer.
Yeah,
right?
serve the customer and the rest will take care of itself. But
Absolutely.
Just by the tone of that question, I'm going to guess that you're projecting all that on your customers. If you make friends with your customers, and we've talked about this before, but the thing that I would do when I was an advisor is if a customer was taking their car somewhere else for their work, I would ask them why. And I would say, will you please, what do I have to do to get a shot at your work? Absolutely. How can I get that work? Because that's why we're here. And then I would get the work. Like, that's it. Like, you got to ask for it. So, hey, are you taking your car somewhere else? What are they doing that I don't do? How can I get that work? And a lot of times, like, don't get caught up on price because the other shop will have the perception of being cheaper, but a lot of times they're not cheaper. So you got to go into that with an open mind.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times they'll charge more for the part, or they'll charge 3 hours when you would do it for 2.
So, we did a survey recently on selling maintenance for independent repair shops. And one of the questions that came up with our customer panel, the feedback they gave us is when they leave the dealership and go to the independent, one of their concerns with maintenance is, are you going to hurt my car? That's from the customers. So if you're a dealership advisor, man, you're the expert. You've got the game won because you have the best technician there. So who else is better to service your car than right here? So that's a gimme. You should be able to capture that sale very easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So change the way you're thinking, change the way you're talking, and your destiny will change. But
I like the projection.
Every customer is a friend. Make friends.
So he should videotape himself at the next write-up and just watch what he's projecting. So you don't want to do the maintenance today? You're just here for warranty work? Oh.
Yeah,
that's probably what he's saying.
Yeah, you're oozing negativity. It's good.
Change it. Absolutely.
Thanks, God. Is that all the questions?
God has one more question.
Rough today.
Where is Gary?
Hey everybody, G-Man here, and I wanted to say congratulations, Service Drive Revolution, and Chris Collins on your 100th episode. I remember when we started that, seems like so long ago, two of us just sitting in an office shooting a podcast back when my cholesterol, which is I'm sure what everybody's wondering, was right around 280, and now it's at a very slim 250. Looking to get sub 200 by the time I turn 70 years old at this pace. at any rate, all joking aside, congratulations on 100 episodes, and look forward to 100 more.
Thanks for that, G-Man. I'm surprised to hear that your cholesterol is actually lower, but that's great news. I worry about you. That means he'll live longer.
That's a good thing.
Slim 250, he said.
Oh.
From 280. It's pretty good. Do you know what your cholesterol is?
No.
You've never had it checked, probably.
I
Right?
have had it checked.
You just don't remember?
I don't remember.
Fun. 100th episode of Fixed Ops Revolution.
Yeah, you're going back in time there.
Funny. Yeah, I have notes from the first episode that we did. I guess we talked about Gary's health and cholesterol, that it was the worst time of year because there was no football, that Dr. Lau told me I could only smoke one cigar a month, and the book, The Goal Theory of Constraints by Elihu Goldratt. I know I said that wrong. And why do dealerships lose 82% of their customers to independent shops? I think now we're saying 75%, not
Yeah,
82.
it's interesting to see what's going to come out of this and how the shift changes things. I mean, we're in a completely new business climate and things are totally different. So
what's interesting is you work with independent shops.
Yep.
I mostly work with dealers, but we work together. And independent shops have a view of dealerships, and dealerships have a view of independent shops.
Yes.
And if they just worried about taking care of customers, it wouldn't matter. Like dealerships think independents are doing it for less. Independents aren't doing it for less in most cases.
Correct.
Right? And then independents think dealerships have the advantage when independents are getting, 75% of the market. Mm-hmm. So it really is the enemy is yourself. It's not dealers or independents.
It's not the competition. It's
There's so many customers out there for everybody, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about the 6 type of service advisors that will destroy your department.
Yeah, absolutely.
Implode.
The Chernobyl effect going full force here.
Okay, the first one is the liar. The service advisor that's a liar. And let me tell you what I mean by liar. They don't tell customers what they really need. So they do 2 things. One is they don't check history, so they don't recommend maintenance that will save customers money in the long run, right? Mm-hmm. So they don't do that. And then the second one is they don't recommend everything. I remember when I was a service advisor, and I would have these college students with like an old Volkswagen Jetta, and it would need like a laundry list of stuff, and I would tell usually it was a female, and I would tell her, she's a college student, and she would cry and the whole thing, and then I don't know, 2 hours later, Dad would call me and give me a credit card, right?
Yep.
And so a lot of times they lie. Like I remember when I would get other advisors' customers when they were off or sick, and they had never recommended anything. They'd written the customer up for years.
Right.
And never recommended anything. And I'm like, you're lying to this customer.
Yeah, but then you're the one that gives them a $4,000 estimate.
I know.
Right?
I hate it. I hate service advisors that don't actually care about their customers enough to tell them.
Or they're cherry picking.
They're just lazy.
Okay. Yeah. I have a third one that they lie about. Do you know what it is? They're always making excuses for their unorganization and not getting the car done on time. And guess who they blame it on?
Yeah, they overpromise too.
Parts department, of course.
That good old parts department.
Yes, we got the wrong part again today. But their lies catch up with them because they don't tell the same lie over and over again, and then the story always changes. And then the customer says, well, you told me something about that, but it was different. So we don't want to lie. So the liar, absolutely.
Okay, the next one that I have is they can't see through their own wallet. So they have their own wallet up in front of them. They can't see through their wallet enough to not lie to customers. So they're like, well, I wouldn't spend $1,000 on my car, so I'm not going to recommend it. And they prejudge customers. Mm-hmm. Because they can't get past that it's, $700 or $800 and they wouldn't spend it.
So then that wallet creates a rut that they sell into as well then, right? So if you you can analyze the numbers and do a forensic audit and see exactly what they're comfortable with selling, what they're not. So you can actually change that. So they can't see through their wallet. That's interesting.
Then the other one I have is the flippers and the jumpers.
The flippers and the jumpers.
So they jump from one job to another. They never stay in one service drive and build a clientele.
Right.
They're always just chasing the pay plan.
I had a guy come through our class about 3 years ago, and he works for Ducati North America. He's their national training director. And he was a Mercedes-Benz technician. And he told me, he said the only time that his paycheck went up was when he moved his toolbox to another dealership. So for technicians, I guess it's okay in a sense. But yeah, from an advisor standpoint, you don't want to just rely on the dealership or the business providing you business. You want to create your own book of business, right? You want to create your own clientele. Stay in one place, don't flip and don't jump. The grass is not always green on the other side.
Then the next one is the rookie. And I don't care if you've been there a month or 2 years, the rookie just doesn't care about knowing anything, learning anything. It's just amateur hour constantly.
Well, those are the catchers, right? This is an easy business in a certain extent. This is why, yes, an iPad will replace the mediocre service advisors. There's a certain amount of business that is built in if you just ask for it. So you don't have to be a professional. It takes a pro, though, to know how to go through 3 or 4 different levels and really connect what the customer uses the car for and get into that personal side of their life so then they can understand why they need to do everything today rather than putting it off and deferring the work. So I like this one, the rookie.
Yeah, and I think if you're getting paid to do something, you're a pro.
Yes.
And a lot of advisors don't treat it like a career. They don't act like pros, and that makes them rookies.
So it's amateur hour down at the karaoke bar. It just sounds horrible.
Exactly.
That's what their sales presentations sound like.
And then line cook.
What do you mean by that?
I forget.
Line cook? No, you don't. They're just transaction after transaction, just flipping it, moving on to the next one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, quick, easy, no personalization to the service. They're stuck in transaction. I really like this point when we work with newer advisors and teaching them how to move beyond, just the basic job of moving from the rookie into the pro ranks, which is you've got to move from transactional into what? Relationship to get those key throwers. It's not hard to do. It just takes a couple little moments of caring and going that much deeper.
The last one is the cannibal.
Oh, what a good word, the cannibal. I picture big teeth with just blood dripping everywhere.
Completely the opposite of the liar. This advisor sells customers stuff they don't need and rips their head off. Never really listens to the customer, never really has any empathy for the customer. They're just sell. All they care about is selling. And they're not collecting customers. They're just trying to rip their heads off.
Do you know that typically cannibals will stay at a dealership and not move to the independent world?
Why is that?
Because the independent world
No, I did not know that. Please tell me why this is, Jeremy.
The independent
wise one.
The independent world, you don't have as big of a support staff. So think about this. At a dealership, I have a massive multi-million-dollar business that I get to operate within. I've got porters, I've got car wash, I've got a detail department, I've got expert technicians that are factory trained, I've got a parts department that does a certain percentage of my job for me, right? So basically, I can handle a larger volume, I can just process the transaction, not really care about people, and I can still get by and be successful to a certain extent. In the independent world, those guys get flushed out and just, they're gone in 6 months. Because what happens is their numbers scream up. Like, we'll have guys come in and they'll triple average repair orders literally overnight. The shop owner calls like, oh, it's so great. Like, I'm making so much money, I'm going to buy a boat. Whoa, time out. Don't buy the boat. Just wait. Wait for the fallout. And sure enough, 6 months later, they're calling crying because the numbers just tanked. The arrow has completely flipped upside down and the customers are gone. Why? Because they got that hollow feeling that they were taken.
Yeah.
And that's not what we want. So yeah, typically the cannibals don't survive in the independent world. They'll hide in a larger dealership where they've got the support around them to stay.
That's interesting. I never thought of that.
I once saw a guy literally sell a $4,500 job face-to-face, walked in the back, dispatched a ticket, walked back in, looked at the same customer, and I said, hi, can I help you? And he goes, I just talked to you about my car. Oh, and your last name? Like, that's how unempathetic this guy was. It's horrible. That's a true story.
That's psychopathic.
Very, very close, yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's nuts.
Very
so
good.
Those are the 6 types of advisors that will kill your service department. Destroy, as you like to
Chernobyl.
say.
The Chernobyl effect. Yes.
Good.
Melted down.
So for our 100th episode, how would you rate it?
I think we did awesome.
We did awesome.
Absolutely. It's great to be back in the studio.
Cheers one more time.
One more time.
We want to
Absolutely.
thank you,
Cheers to you guys.
the listener or the viewer. Without you, we are nothing. Please submit your questions. We'll send you some swag, and we'll see you Friday with the Friday drive-by. Stay safe. Keep everybody safe in this weird time. Wash your hands. Mouthwash.
Onward
wear
to episode
masks.
101.
Yep.
Here we come.
We'll see you again next time on Service Drive Revolution. Thanks for watching this episode of Service Drive Revolution. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified when we post new episodes. I'm Chris Collins, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Chris Bulldog Collins. And I'll see you again on the next episode.